Hi, this is Gary. Learning how to read a syllabus is an important part of any college class. So in this little video we are going to quickly go through the course syllabus for our class, Connecting with Ideas. Most CWI syllabuses are built upon a template that all instructors use, and so there's a certain sameness to syllabuses. In this video I'm going to point out the important parts, and I'm going to leave it for you on your own to read the details of this syllabus. We won't go through most of those. First off, this notice of student and instructor accountability is just a way for us to say that this is official. When you see a syllabus and it says something, that's what applies as the rules for the course. There's also a second syllabus, which is the institutional syllabus, and we'll go through that in a different video. Course information is always there. This gives the name of the course, the instructor's name, how to contact the instructor. There's a course description. This comes usually straight from the catalog. There's a schedule. This is a summer session. It's an 8-week online course. If the course were a face-to-face course, especially if it's in the spring or the fall, there will be a lot more dates here. Typically, instructors will tell you the dates of unit tests and the date of the final. Instructor availability. You will always find ways of contacting instructors. For me this summer, I have online office hours. You can get to those through Blackboard, clicking on online office hours. You can also email most instructors. They will give you some time within which they will respond. I try to respond within 1 to 2 business days, so longer on weekends is what that means. It's rare, but some instructors will give you a phone number. I give my students my phone number. It's 208-503-MATH, and there's kind of a joke. I always wink at the students and say, yes, you've got a guy who has math in his phone number, so you are in good hands. I promise not to answer, but I do promise to call back. The course focus. Of all the parts that are from the template, this is probably the one part that your instructor has written. And so here's what I wrote. Newspapers love to splash big headlines about death by shark. But did you realize that you are more likely to be killed by a statistician than by a shark? This course will take a lighthearted but rigorous approach to probability, giving you the opportunity to exercise some fairly simple mathematical operations while thinking about some fairly complex ideas. The theme will be approached from a variety of disciplines, looking not only at the mathematical concepts of probability, but also at its historical and philosophical underpinnings. Don't be afraid to sign up just because your math background is shaky. All calculations will be done with calculators, and nothing is more complex than simple addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. About 2/3 of the math material in this course is not covered in any other math course at CWI. So there's the course focus, and we will return to this throughout this course. You'll see ideas of probability coming up. Course outcomes. There are, depending on the course, 1 or 2 pages, maybe a half a page of various course outcomes. This is the only part of the syllabus that I advise you not to read very carefully, and the reason is you don't know these things yet, and sometimes there will be things that don't make sense to you, especially in technical courses. I do recommend over the course of the semester that you glance through this and start checking off things and see what you're learning. So for example, there will be a video on navigating basic Blackboard and supplemental software, and some of you might already feel comfortable having seen that video, and you could check this off and look through later and see what things you're learning and how far you are in meeting these learning goals. Outcomes assessment is a fancy way of saying you have to do some work. Those are the outcomes. An assessment means the professor is going to give you some grades. And so in this course you have to write 2 different papers, an introductory paper and a reflective signature assignment, about 8 pages. You will have to do some informal written work, and you've already done some of that in the class. There's a group project that will present to the class on a probability topic, and of course we want all assignments to be done on time. The grading scale, all CWI instructors use this same grading scale for A, B, C, D, and F, but the way the points are allotted in the class may be different from class to class. In this class we have quizzes, we have discussion board entries that are done online. As I say, there's an introductory paper and then a signature assignment, reflection paper, there's a team presentation, and there are various assignments just to keep you busy and allow you to learn things. Then there's a comprehensive final exam, and you can look through this and see the percentages of the different pieces in this class. Assignments shouldn't be done late. Online courses sometimes have weird things happen. Blackboard might make you late, and if that happens, then of course we're going to accept it. You just have to confirm that that is what actually happened. Courses that are general education courses do have signature assignments, and there will often be a paragraph or two telling you more about that. Every single course will have a section telling you about textbooks and required materials. This course, as my gift to you, I do not require you to purchase any textbooks. I'm trying to save you some money. There are classes that have textbooks that might cost you $200 or $300, and to me that's jaw-dropping. And I want one of your first classes at CWI not to have something like that. And so I give you everything you need to read. You do want to have a calculator. You don't need a fancy one. You should always come to class prepared to learn, and you need to have a proper computer if you are doing work online or in a computer in a face-to-face class. Syllabuses will always have this methods of delivery section. It talks about how the class is run. Some classes are face-to-face, some classes are online, and you'll want to read this to see how things are going. Course expectations really has two different parts, and some professors divide them up, and some, like me, kind of don't. And the two parts are, there are certain expectations from you, and then you have certain expectations from me. And so some of my expectations for you is that you spend, for example, a certain amount of time participating in the course. Meeting deadlines is one of the expectations. You're supposed to send me email from your CWI email, and some of the expectations from me for you, you will expect me to communicate with you. I'll be posting grades in Blackboard as the course progresses. There will sometimes be announcements. There will sometimes be email to you. And then here's one that we both share in. Toward the end of the course, in a regular term, it's week 13, and in the summer, of course, it happens a lot earlier because they don't last that long. There are end of course evaluations. All instructors find these very, very valuable, and we ask, we plead, we beg that you fill those out. It gives us feedback. It tells us what we're doing well. It tells us where we can improve. We do ask that you be constructive in your comments. A lot of instructors, myself included, will give extra credit points to the entire class if a certain percentage of students do complete the course evaluation. And this is our way of getting you to harangue your classmates and ask them, did you fill that in? Because we want you to do it. Personal technical skills. Some courses will have more than others. In this particular Connecting with Ideas class, we expect you to be able to use a browser. We expect you to use Word and PowerPoint, really basic things to be able to write a paper and maybe create a slideshow. We expect you to be able to watch a video file and sometimes upload video files. Netiquette expectations. This says to be polite online. These are human beings that you're interacting with, so please be on your best behavior. Speaking of behavior, what this boilerplate section says is that everyone is here to learn, and we expect you to be in the class and, yes, be on your best behavior. Try to learn. Academic honesty. This shouldn't be an issue at all, but it can be. I think that most of my students are very, very honest, and so I don't have to worry about this a lot. But there are rules about academic honesty and plagiarism. In fact, that's one of our topics in our Connecting with Ideas class. We'll talk about plagiarism and how to avoid accidental plagiarism. Purposeful plagiarism, of course, you know better, so don't do that. Anyway, don't ever cheat. It's not worth it. You'll get caught. I catch people more often than I'd like, and they get in a whale of trouble. So don't do that. Emergency procedures. If you're in an online class, this doesn't really apply. If you have an emergency at home, I'm sorry, you're on your own. There's not a lot I can do. But if you were in a face-to-face class with me, the rules are that there are emergency procedures posted on a bulletin board just inside the door of each classroom, and we ask that you do what the professor says, because supposedly they're a more mature, more calm person in the room. Every syllabus will include a core competency for the College of Western Idaho. These are different pieces of things, and one of them is connecting with ideas, and this course meets that one. Others are mathematical ways of knowing, English, just different sorts of distribution requirements, they call them. Institutional objectives. There are 5 or 6 of these, and classes will list the ones that they meet. So we are providing for you in this Connecting with Ideas class 3 of the institutional objectives: learn to learn, make connections, solve problems. Another, and you should read these so you understand what they are. Another one that is not on this list, but I always like to mention, is ethics. Ethics is not an official topic of the Connecting with Ideas class, but I always argue that what we are doing involves human beings, and anything that humans beings do does have an ethical component. And so they don't let me list it, but it's in the back of my mind all the time. Most syllabuses will have this boilerplate paragraph. What it says is that this syllabus actually is a contract between the student and instructor. If this says that the final exam is 15%, then yes, the final exam is worth 15%. And you're supposed to understand that these are rules and expectations that you're expected to follow and meet. Some instructors take this idea of a contract so far as to have an additional page on their syllabus that has you sign and say that you have read the syllabus and you agree with it, you're going to do what it says, and then you hand that in, and they give you points for that, or sometimes they just make it a requirement. I don't do that because this paragraph is there. It seems like extra bother to me. I also include, and most instructors do, a escape clause here. Things in this syllabus may change, but you will have plenty of notice beforehand. And I even put a little change log. You might have noticed, if you were paying close attention, about the first minute on page 2 or so there was a typo, and I zipped right over it, but I did notice it, and there will be a change made, and you'll see that come out in a new syllabus. That's the syllabus. There's also, depending on the instructor and how they do it, an extra page. I do it as an extra document. There's a separate document that has a course outline, a schedule rather, and I do encourage you to read that very carefully. Most of you have planners, or you have some sort of app, some sort of computer device tool that allows you to put in schedules and reminders. There are important dates, so you'll know dates of tests, major tests, you'll know dates of finals, you'll know the dates when important assignments are due, and you can put those in your schedule planner so that you get reminded well ahead of time. So I encourage you to always look at the schedule, and there is a schedule posted for this class in Blackboard. You should look at it. Thank you very much for paying attention to this.